What's up, guys? I don't have a nautical pun for this one, but it's my review of One Piece episode 588. This was a goofy-ass episode of One Piece, but that wasn't exactly a bad thing. There was some pretty important stuff that happened at the end, but for the most part, this one had me laughing, especially in the second half of the episode. However, there was a little bit of important stuff that happened at the very beginning. We get to see the conclusion of sorts to this battle between Smoker and Law. In the last episode, Smoker had lost his heart, and Law is literally holding on to it. And then Luffy all of a sudden runs up on Law and is like, "Hey man, what's up? Remember when we had our episodes together?" And Law's just like, "Oh, hey Luffy." Ashigi wants her friggin' revenge for Smoker, though, and I don't know if anybody's ever brought this up, but they do this a lot, obviously in the manga and in the anime. I love the way they draw their crazy eyes when their eyes get really, really intense, when they're either like really freaked out by something, or when they charge somebody, where basically their eyes turn just like a solid color. It's very jarring, and it almost catches me off guard at times. So Tashigi is running towards Law trying to get him, and then he does his shambles thing where he switches her heart with Smoker's, and we all know what's going to happen there, but we'll get to that later. We go back to Chopper, Frankie, Sanji, and Nami, and we get to see them hanging out with the kids again in the samurai, and they're all basically just sitting there freezing to death, and then that's when we find out that this headless samurai has this weird ability to essentially create clothes for somebody magically. And he does this by putting rocks on their heads and everything. And it's funny because it's some sort of weird devil fruit power. But I've never seen anything like this one in the series. And, you know, he didn't even, like, say anything. He just said, like, poof to make it happen. But it's really funny. And they brought up a really great point. Why didn't he do this earlier? But it's still pretty awesome. Then we get to see that all of the Straw Hats finally get to reunite with each other, and this is where we get a lot of the really funny stuff. Now that all the Straw Hats are reunited, I'm sure they're sort of confused why all of their bodies have been switched and everything, and they have to get reacquainted with who everybody is, so they all get to do their roll call. And of course, Sanji is definitely the funniest one of the group, getting to rip his clothes off yet again just to get a nice boob shot for Nami. There's also a really crass scene where the samurai finds his legs again and he gets reattached. And then he starts farting, and they do this joke 3 times in a row, and it goes on a little long, but it's just a little goofy. Did I just say it's a little goofy in One Piece? It's always fucking goofy in One Piece. So now that the Straw Hats are all reacquainted, we finally get to see what happened to Tashigi and Smoker, and they switched bodies. And it seems kind of normal at first. We get to see Tashigi seems a little uncomfortable being in Smoker's body, but nothing too drastic. But when you get that first shot of Tashigi, it is absolutely hilarious, because Smoker has literally gone out of his way and taken the time to try and make himself at least look like himself a little bit by slicking his hair back, or I should say her hair back, and he's even got his signature cigar and everything, and it looks really, really funny, and he isn't breaking character whatsoever. He is not bothered by the fact that he's now basically a smoking hot babe. Sanji, on the other hand, needs a cold shower, but he'd probably like that. The episode ends with a build-up with the reveal of our villain. They call him Caesar Clown. He was that weird puff of smoke guy with the weird face and everything. And he used to work with Dr. Vegapunk. And we actually start to get a glimpse of him at the very end of the episode. Law is getting ready to meet with him. And I really wish we got a big view of him. Again, he's the same voice actor as Frieza and everything, so I think it's perfect for that character. I can't wait to see him in full view. And that's where the episode comes to a close. We get that classic to be continued screen. But the only real negative for this episode were that the jokes sort of dragged on a little bit, but still a lot of things happened. It was pretty entertaining altogether, but still it wasn't a perfect episode. So I'm going to drop a 9 out of 10 on this one. Pretty damn good. Pretty decent animation for the most part, so I can't wait to see when the action picks up. But how did you guys feel about this episode? What do you want to see from the reveal of Caesar Clown? You can let me know with your comments below. Remember guys, as always, make sure and hit that like button, give this video a thumbs up. It's the best way to support SuperKamiGuru9000. Well guys, that concludes this review today. I'll see you next time. SuperKamiGuru9000, out.